Hi, welcome back to the Gemhawks YouTube channel. Thank you for coming back and seeing me once again. Don't forget to check out my Facebook page for regular every other week Monday live events. They start at 8 PM British time, British summertime as we are now, or GMT during the winter months. Lots of laughs and fun. It doesn't matter if you've come to buy or not, just come and have a chat and a hangout and tell me what you've been up to, basically. So for today, what I want to show you is a smashed feather design. So it's a stylised feather. You could, of course, if you wanted to, add it onto the bottom of a web type design or a dreamcatcher-esque design. That's something for the future. That's another upcoming tutorial. But for today, I want to teach you how to make a smashed stylised feather. Some people might call it hammered. You do you. Okay, so the materials we're working with today are raw copper wire. It's untreated, it's lovely and soft, it has no coating. You can patinate it later if you desire, or allow it to naturally darken in time, or give it a good polish with some wax and keep it that beautiful hot pinkish copper colour for life. So I've got two lengths of wire that we're going to be working with. It's 1mm gauge. I will pop in the description the American sizes for the wire comparatively, so that you can check that if you need to. The lengths are approximately 18 inches, 450mm, 45 centimetres. Got one in that length, and then I've got a shorter piece which is about 9 inches or so in length, 9 to 10 inches. Obviously you do have a little bit of flexibility on the sizes. If you've got some scrap bits that you want to work on, just make a slightly more smaller piece. So if you'd like to join me down on the board, I'll show you close up what we're looking to create. So we're working with round wire. I prefer to work with round wire over profiled wire because it gives me a great deal of control over the finished piece. I'm a great admirer of people that do work with square and profile wire. So that's what we're looking to create. I've added onto this piece some miniature 2mm faceted lapis lazuli beads. That's an addition that you can make if you'd like to. You don't have to if you don't want to. We're also going to be using a small amount of 0.4mm gauge raw copper wire also. So to begin with, I'll just pop these over to the side if I leave that up there for reference. And I'm going to be working with my bent chain nose pliers. We're just going to give the wire a really good warm today. So 2 or 3 passes between thumb and forefinger, finding the centre in that length of wire. And we're going to start with a really good sharp point. So I'll bring that back up to the centre of the board. It's easier for me to do that slightly closer. And we're just going to open that out slightly, keeping it nice and flat. So to create a tight bend and then open it back out gives you a really nice point on the end here. What we're going to do is come up around about probably 1/3 of an inch or so, maybe about 8 or 9mm, and draw back in. I'm going to do that on both sides. If you imagine you're making the bottom of a tie, that's kind of what it's going to look like. So again, we're looking to get some nice sharp corners on these, so you can take it slightly past the point where you want it to appear, and then bring it back. And in that way, you'll get a slightly firmer, sharper bend in your 1mm gauge round copper wire. So that's our first section. At the moment, it's quite a almost square diamond shape, so I'm just going to bring that back up slightly, and on both sides, like so. And the next thing we're going to do is start creating a backwards bend about a little bit further, perhaps around about 11mm, just under 1/2 an inch. I'm drawing that back out. If I open that out, you should be able to see it better. Drawing that back down on itself. Just going to switch my grip, and then I'm going to squeeze that flat so that it sits against our first line that we just worked on. So before you get pressing that too hard, what we're going to do is exactly the same on the other side, like so. I'm going to gauge this by eye. You could, of course, measure this if you wanted to, either by using a marker pen, which will later file off, or just by measuring a piece of paper and using that as a guide. It's entirely up to you. Feathers are a natural thing. They tend to be reasonably symmetrical, but if you're a tiny percentage out, nobody is going to worry. So we're going to give a nice firm squeeze on both of those sides, so you're creating that kind of tie effect. And just going to open both of those out very gently. You can see they're slightly lopsided, but I'm not going to let it worry me. And I'm going to come in with my bent chain nose pliers again, and it's about 4 or 5 millimeters up from that first bend that we made. And I'm going to support the wire as I force that back up on itself. I'm going to put my nail underneath both of those lines so that I can bring the wire back up. So it's not quite 40 degrees, slightly shallower than 40 degrees, and we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So you can see it's where the wire is coming away, that's actually to our benefit because it enables us to get the pliers in. So supporting it as you push that back, and whilst you're pushing to get that angle, you can make the almost like a prong that we've created up here, you can get it to sit closer together as you go, but supporting all the while so that you don't overstress the wire in any way. So we've got some bends coming back up. It looks a bit like an angel at the moment. That's all pretty cool. So I'm just going to keep that nice and flat. With this design, we're always working in 2 dimensions, so nothing is going to come up away from you or push, up towards you or push away from you. You're always working as if you're between 2 panes of glass. So it's kind of a flat project until you get to the bail, which you can do basically what you want with the bail. So if we come back down to the board, the next section is a little bit repetitive, so I'm just going to do it on the one side. So I'm going to set my pliers in on the end of this segment, and I'm going to draw back. So what we're going to do now is make a series of very similar objects. Now, if you imagine that there is a line running up the centre of the design, from the very tip towards our imagined bail, that will be really helpful to visualise where let's call them prongs, where the prongs are going to sit. They're going to sit just on that line because it helps us to generate the prongs as we want them. So I'm just tightening that up at the very, very end, but leaving that slightly open so I can then come in with the tip of the pliers, again supporting underneath, pushing that end around, and then repeat. So all the while we're hoping to keep this flat. If you mark the wire, it doesn't matter because we are going to hammer this today. I've got my 1/4 pound brass headed hammer to use today on a steel block with a rubber sound deadening block to go with. So again, we're going to look at the design as we're working through. We're going to put our imaginary line going up the centre, and we're always trying to keep those prongs either side of this straight upright line. And in that way we should get reasonably even design as we work through. As I said, feathers are an organic creation of nature. That's twisted ever so slightly. As I say, we are going to hammer this, so some mild marking isn't really that important. Just draw the wires apart, get underneath there to support it, and draw around as you go. So just going to flatten that down, bring that back as we go, and then once you get to the top, I think I might do 2 more of these. I'm just going to do the one side, but what I tend to do when I'm creating is this side, that side, this side, that side, and in that way you don't get too lopsided, because if you have a problem of lopsidedness, it can be exacerbated and kind of grow as you go on. So just do one side, then the other side, and in that way you should be slightly more even as you go up the process. So you can see that I'm just creating the same kind of shape over and over again, imagining that straight line for those prongs to sit against as we go. And then when you come up to the last one, the piece I'm making here is quite diminutive, but I'll show you the other piece again in a second. So I've created that kind of prong type effect, just opening that out gently, supporting underneath the prong as I twist the wire back round. When you start coming up to the top, we're just going to have one more go, like so, and it's starting to get a bit smaller because my prongs are starting to move more into the centre. I'm just generating smaller segments. I hope you can see that easily. So I need to be very careful not to over crush too much of this prong. I just need to get the inner half and then allow the outer half to come back out. So just supporting that prong. And on this last section, we're not going to create such a rectangular shape. We're just going to bring that around over the top until we get to the imagined 12 o'clock line. So if I pop the imaginary line back in, I'm going to put a 12 o'clock bend up the top here. and I would have made that symmetrically as we go. So there's my 12 o'clock line, just coming up at the top, and then you can just open that out slightly until you have this kind of shape. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to draw this wire around like so, and I'm going to show you how to hammer the half. You'll need to imagine that we've done both sides. Bringing in my steel block with a sound deadening rubber block underneath. It will still be slightly noisy, so apologies in advance. So never hammer where wires cross. In your example, you would have created another upright so that you've got 2 tram lines up at the top, like so. Just get that to sit nicely. Never let them cross over, always keep them side by side, and in that way you'll keep the shape that you've worked hard to achieve. So now is the time to just tighten anything up. If you're concerned that it's not exactly how you want it to be, get that looking feathery as you go, and then support at the top, because if you start hammering here and you're only holding one side, this is going to come open and you're going to lose that shape. So you're going to support at the top and support on the opposite side. So you get that lovely and shiny and nice and flat and really, really strong. If you wish to, you can hammer both sides. It depends on how you want to work with this. When you're working with a satinized steel block like this, you do get a lovely kind of satin effect on the back. So I think on this occasion I will leave it hammered one side only. And I'm not going to hammer much more than a little tiny bit at the top. Just less than half an inch or around about a centimetre, going up those 12 o'clock wires. So if I remove the block out of view and just show you those side by side for a second, you can make these any size. Obviously 1mm gauge is really nice to work with, because whilst it is quite strong to gain the shape that you're looking for, it also has a really good strength once you've hammered it. So the next part of the demonstration that I'm going to show you today is how to create the central vein on the feather. Now I've chosen to add on some gemstones. You don't have to do that at all, but I'll show you how to sit that in position either way. So if you are going to sit some gemstones on, it's really nice actually to hammer the central vein, because it makes it easier for the gemstones to sit flat. You don't have to hammer it if you don't want to, because it will sit quite nicely in position anyway. So if you are going to add on some gems, do give the central vein a hammer first. And this is the around about sort of 8 or 9 inches of the 1mm gauge wire. It does pay you in advance to make sure this is reasonably straight to begin with. So I'm just going to give that a bit of a look and make sure that I'm happy. Again, it doesn't matter if you're marking the wire at this point. And we'll start down at the tip, and we're going to try and smash it slightly out to one side so that we splay the end. And then as we come up the centre, you can see that it's moving around ever so slightly because I'm not able to keep it completely still. There is a technique for this. So you can always tape it if you prefer. But now I've got something to hold down, I will be able to obtain a flatter shape as we go. So let's pop the block back out of the way. And what we're going to do is start by winding on some of our bare 0.4mm gauge. Now my best tip for this is to load more gemstones than you think you will need onto the wire and leave it in its bag. This is quite a chunky weight of 0.4mm gauge, but even so, keeping it in the bag means that you're much less likely to have a drama where you drop all the gemstones on the floor. if your eyesight is like mine, finding 2mm faceted gemstones on a dark floor is not fun. So I've added some gems onto the wire, and I'll just show you that down here on the board. So I've got just a couple to show you just here, but I've left that attached to the wire reel so that I can use just as much as I need. Now right down here at the end, we've got a slightly splayed end. Again, I'm just going to take a second to try and get that as flat as I possibly can. And I'm going to start winding 3 or 4 times around the end, but not right up to the very, very tip of the wire. So let's go with 5 wraps, and we'll just stop on this side. Lost my flush cutters. Let's give that a trim. Bring that into position and flatten it down. Now, a way for you to keep this super neat and tidy is just to scooch that down a little bit towards the end, and then take this hammered splayed end and bend it back up and over the cut piece of 0.4mm gauge. So I'm just bending that back over on itself, and that covers up the wire end, and there's nothing jagged at the end of the piece. You may want to wear this as jewellery, or you may wish to keep it as wall art. It's up to you, but in this way it is ready to be used as jewellery. So just giving that a bit of a straighten out. I swap that to the other side because I'm right dominant. Slide in my first gemstone. So just showing you the back, that's folded up. Allow the first gemstone to sit into position. Grip it between your non-dominant thumb and forefinger, and then wrap twice around the bar that we've created. So that's twice, and then you can drop in your next gemstone. Now obviously the number of wraps, the number of gemstones, it's all down to you. I make this particular design with micro-faceted gemstones in the chakra colours. So you have a beautiful feather with those 7 gemstones in the different colours. But today we're working with 2 wraps, followed by a 2mm faceted dyed lapis lazuli. These are colour enhanced. They're so vivid. They are beautiful. Allow that to sit into position and draw that around a couple of times. So just trying to keep this as straight as possible. What I'm going to do is allow that to sit underneath. I'm going to offer my central vein underneath the feather design that we've created, and just slide that down into the position that I would like it to see. So I can see that I get another 5 or 6 gemstones on here. Obviously you don't need to see that repeated over and over again, so I'm just going to wind quickly around until we get up to the top. Offer it underneath, and if you imagine please that we have filled this entire section with those beautiful micro facets, it's sitting nice and centrally where we want it to. And what I'm going to do now is a series of weaves with the long spine up the centre. Just going to splay out the end sides up there so it's easier to weave. So what you can do if you want, if I drop this out to show you, we're going to weave twice just around that central vein, pop it back into position, and then once around all 3, keeping it nice and flat, and then twice around just the central vein. So you can see here, if I draw that around the central vein, and then a second time around the central vein, push that down nice and flat, and then that's actually fallen a bit south of where I want it to be. So just draw that back up for a second, there we go, around all 3, and then just around the central vein. Now the piece that I've got just here, all I've done is continued that for about an inch or so, and then trimmed off the 2 outer wires to a very stubby length of about 4mm, folded them over the back so that they're out of the way and smooth, and then just kind of gizmo wired around the residue of the spine that we've added to the centre, and then done a very basic wrapped loop. So it is an easy to achieve piece. It's fun to get hammering, honestly, especially when you manage to not hit your finger just for once. So that is your Gemhawks tutorial for a smashed feather, or a hammered feather if you want to be particular about it, with a couple of little lapis lazuli on there as well. I look forward to welcoming you back to the Gemhawks YouTube channel very soon. Thank you so much for continuing to watch. Have the most beautiful day.